Okay, so let's get into it. We're looking at some source material today that describes a pretty surprising public exchange.
Yeah, it involves former President Donald Trump and the tech billionaire Elon Musk.
Exactly. And what's really striking here, based on the reports we have, is just how fast this whole thing seemed to play out.
Right, you've got this public disagreement, and then it spills over into, an online back and forth. This was apparently just last Thursday.
And that's what we want to unpack. Our aim, using only the information in these sources, is to trace, how this started, what reportedly happened online.
And maybe why the sources flagged this particular interaction as significant or noteworthy?
So let's go back to the beginning. Where did the sources say this tension first came from?
Well, the material suggests it kicked off with the former president saying he was disappointed with Mr. Musk.
Disappointed. Okay. And disappointed about what specifically?
It seems it was linked to criticisms Musk had made about a signature spending bill of Trump's.
Right. Okay. So a policy thing. And Musk's response to being called out like that. How did he reportedly react?
Quite directly, it seems. The reports say he countered that with an accusation of ingratitude.
Ingratitude. Wow. Okay. So that sets the stage. And then, as you said, it moved online.
Yeah, that's when, according to the sources, things escalated. They apparently started trading insults on that Thursday.
Became a very public thing, this back and forth unfolding online.
Yeah, over several hours, apparently very visible.
But here's where the reports indicate a kind of interesting turn. Despite all that heat, that public sparring, the tone seems to have shifted pretty quickly afterwards. The sources suggest both of them started to, maybe pull back a bit.
Yes, exactly. It looks like a move towards de-escalation. We see that reflected in what happened next.
Like what did the sources say?
Well, the material mentions the former president telling Politico, oh, it's okay, kind of downplaying it.
Right, brushing it off a little.
Yeah.
And Musk?
The reports also suggest Musk seemed to feel they needed to, patch things up.
Okay, so both sides signaling maybe it went too far, or at least wanting to cool it down.
Precisely. And the immediate next step reported is quite telling, I think.
Which was?
White House aides reportedly scheduled a call between Trump and Musk for today.
And today, in the context of the source material, means Friday, June 6th, 2025. So like the very next day after the online stuff.
Exactly. A very quick turnaround to arrange direct contact.
And the speed, this move to talk directly, it connects to another point the sources raised, doesn't it, about the wider relationship here?
It does. It highlights the significant connections Mr. Musk's companies have with the U.S. government. Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, they all have dealings.
Direct contacts, relationships with government bodies. That context feels pretty important here.
Definitely. And the source material even gives a specific, timely example related to SpaceX.
Ah, yes, I remember reading that. It mentioned Musk had recently sort of backed off an earlier threat.
That's right. Reportedly walked back a threat about decommissioning a key SpaceX spacecraft. One used by U.S. astronauts, no less.
So you have this public spat erupting just as these high-stakes business and government connections are, very much active.
Correct. So the sequence laid out in the sources is disappointment over policy criticism leads to public online insults.
But then almost immediately a shift. Both sides seem keen to de-escalate.
Culminating very rapidly in that scheduled phone call.
And it's that speed, isn't it? The quick pivot from public fight to planned call, especially considering, as the sources point out, the backdrop of Musk's significant business ties to the government.
That seems to be what the sources find particularly interesting about this whole episode.
So to sort of wrap up the narrative arc from this material,
Yeah.
You get the disagreement, the online flare-up, then this swift effort by both parties to cool things down, leading straight to arranging a conversation.
That's the sequence presented.
Looking at just that sequence, what does it make you, the listener, think about? Does it maybe tell us something about how high-profile figures navigate public conflicts, especially when there are these big governmental or business stakes involved?
Yeah, it's interesting to consider. And maybe one final thought based strictly on what we've discussed from this source. What might that reported speed, that urgency to patch things up, suggest about the underlying dynamics? Or maybe the potential risks or importance involved in this specific relationship, as the material portrays it.
Something to mull over.